Hey there YouTube, this is Mr. Budget coming with a deck profile. I know I haven't done this in quite some time in this setting, but we're kind of slow rolling in the summertime. A lot of things have been going on, so but there's no excuse. We're going to try to get more videos out to you. We just have a problem with our editor and getting things more clarified. Hopefully that changes in the future. If that does, I'll let you guys know, and or you'll just see the quality of the videos up. We do have a new sub channel, not sub channel, subcategory on our channel known as Tech Talks. You guys will be seeing the first episode of that. I apologize for the roughness of that video. Things will get, like I said, things will get a lot more clearer going in the future when we have a bit more know-how. We're growing. You guys are growing with us, and we hope you guys stick with us. But without further ado, you saw the thumbnail. You saw what was written underneath it. This is Premium Witches. So I've been testing this deck out for the past couple of days. This is very strong. Maybe a contender for the Autumn Fest scene, depending on what our Autumn Fest ban list looks like. If it's less control, this is definitely going to be a option to go forward with. But without further ado, we're going to go into the deck profile, show you the ins and outs of the deck, show you what how the deck plays, and what order things need to go in, and how you can outlast and beat down your opponent. So first, we're going to start with the boss unit of the deck. 4 copies of Benetite Witch Yo-Yo. For those who don't know, Benetite Yo-Yo has a Vanguard and front row rear guard skill that states if your Vanguard with Witch in its card name attacked first at the end of the battle, you may counterblast 1, discard 2 cards with Witch in their card names, and ride a grade 3 Witch from your hand as stand and gain a protect. Now she has another skill. If she is ridden on top of by a Witch card, you may move her to a rearguard circle or get a protect. So it gives you the best of both worlds if you don't already have her on board, or whatever the case being, for next turn, or if you already done the full combo play, get another protect for our other grade 3 to build more pressure. Next, we're going to be we have 3 copies of the old boss unit, Scarlet Witch Coco. So if you're going first, Coco is going to be your first ride. If you're going second, Benetite and the other grade 3 that we run in this deck might be your second. You may be your best choice. But if you're going first, Coco is definitely going to be your first grade 3 target. Reasons for that is when she rides on top of a grade 2, you get to draw a card. And then she has an axe skill. Once returned, counterblast 1, soul blast a grade 3. Now you may be wondering, well, if she's the first grade 3 ride, how do I get a grade 3 in the soul? Further down the deck, we have cards that count themselves as 3s in soul. We'll get there when we get there. You draw 2 cards, and then you may discard any number of witches from your hand to gain the exact same number of protects. Now, the clause about this is any number. 0 is a number, which means you don't have to discard anything. So it's technically just a +2 to the hand. Keep that in mind. Our last grade 3 boss unit, if you want to name her, is Wisteria Witch Zozo. So Zozo is the card that you want to ride into after you re-ride into your grade 3, because she has the Vanguard skill. When she attacks, you may reveal as many protects in your hand, and your front row gets plus 5k for each one revealed. And then she also has a Vanguard on hit skill, Vanguard rearguard skill, on hit skill. Counterblast 1, draw 1 if she hits the Vanguard. But the first skill is what we're looking for, is to gain that massive buff to the front row. So you could be hitting Force 1 front trigger numbers or even higher when you go into her. Those are all the grade 3s. Now we're going to jump into the grade 2s. We play 4 copies of Cobalt Witch Poo Poo. Poo Poo's skill is that when she rides on top of a grade 1, you may discard 1 card from your hand and gain an imaginary gift protect. So she immediately gives you 1 protect just for riding and doing the normal stuff. Her other skill is when she attacks, you may reveal any number of sentinels in your hand, and she'll get plus 5k for each. So that's protects, sentinel crits, sentinel draws, or sentinel grade 1s. So any version of a sentinel, she'll get plus 5k power from it. Next, we're going to go into that grade 2 I was talking about earlier for Scarlet Witch Coco. This is Blue Sea Witch Nini. Nini's effect is very simple. Continuous in soul, she counts herself as a grade 3. How do you get her in there? It's her axe skill on rear guard. Put herself into soul, check the top 3 cards of your deck, rearrange them in any order, and put those 3 cards back on top of your deck. So this allows you to manipulate your drives and make sure that you get cards that you need or hit or stack triggers so you can hit hard. Now the last grade 2 that we're playing is 4 copies of Jade Witch TT. So TT's skill is that when she is discarded during your turn, you may Soul Blast one and Superior Call her back to the rearguard circle. And then when she is put into the Guardian Circle for her other skill, you can discard any number of Protect markers from your hand and she'll get plus 20k shield for each one. So this is a good way to get around Guard Restrict. So cards that don't allow you to use Sentinels to guard, you pitch her to Guardian Circle, discard all your Sentinels. That's 20, 40, 60, 80, even all the way up to 100k guard added onto her already 5k guard to allow you to guard and protect yourself. Sorry for all the bells and whistles, there's just some stuff in the background. We're going to go into our grade 1s now. We played 4 copies of Citrine Witch Mumu. Citrine is our draw engine or our search engine. So she has auto when she's rolled upon by a witch, you may discard 1 card. Secondary skill, act, Soul Blast 1, rest her, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 3 witches, and then from those 3 witches revealed, put one of those witches into your hand. But if you do not reveal 3, she must go to the soul. So she allows you to search out your pieces turn after turn after turn as long as you reveal 3 witches. They can all be the same witch, they can all be different names, it doesn't matter. As long as you reveal 3 witches, she stays on board, and then turn after turn, she just keeps plussing you and plussing you and plussing you for a soul blast that with other cards in the deck, you can gain more soul.
That cat litter in there is strong.
Okay. Our next grade 1 is Sprout Witch Roro. Now, Roro here has an interesting slot in the deck, just for the simple fact that we really don't use her at all. It's just the simple fact of the matter that she is a witch in card name. Her full effect is auto on rearguard. When the Bushi attack hit a Vanguard, you may counterblast 1, move her to soul, and draw 1 card. Her other auto effect is when you ride a grade 3 witch while she's in soul, you may call her out to rearguard circle. We really don't use this skill as often or at all, but just the fact that she is a witch and we don't have any other good grade 1 10k shield witches in the game as of right now, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Let me know how I can better the deck if there's a better card. But right now she's the only other option. She's just here because she's a witch. Now the last grade 1 slot is 3 copies of Divine Sword Amine no Mukuru. You all know him as a grade 3 searcher. We do reveal cards due to things like Citron. So just having him in the back row, 13k booster, especially behind the Vanguard, allows you to swing with the Vanguard, re-ride the Vanguard, have another booster for another stronger attack. That is his number. That is really his place in the deck, besides being a grade 3 searcher. Now, I've showed you the main units of the deck, all the plussing and searching. So you may be wondering, how do I end my opponent? How do I beat my opponent? The answer to that is crit, crit, and even more crit. We're playing 11 crits in this deck. You want to pressure your opponent hard. You want to end your opponent quickly. So our stride crit here is a witch. We have a sentinel here, which is a crit, and then we have Psychic Berg here, which is a cycle into soul, draw 1 card. Alongside that, we play 4 copies of the grade 3 Heal Guardian, because we need to live during the beginning of the game, so that way we can take more damage towards the end after we build our hand. And 1 over trigger. This will be changed to the create elemental over trigger. I'm not really sure which one yet, I'm more leaning towards the blue. But we'll test out and see what the red comes out after the festival collection comes out. And of course, you have your one starter. This can be any starter. I just chose this one because it kind of messes with my points. I think I'm playing Tsukiyomi when then I bust out the witches. So that's basically everything for the main deck. We're going to go jump into the G-Zone real quick. Very simple G-Zone. We play one copy of Sterling Witch Momo. It is a witch deck. You could go into this just to really beat down your opponent, discard 3 cards because you have ample amount of cards in your hand, and give plus 30k to your front row and just go to town and then re-ride into a grade 3 witch and then go to town even more. We play 2 copies of Floral Witch Master Mimi. Mimi here can be your first ride or your finishing card. Mimi's skill is auto. When placed, you discard 1 card with witch in its card hand, in one card with witch in its card name, and then your opponent must discard 2 cards. If your opponent cannot discard 2 cards, they take 1 damage and all trigger effects are nullified. So, for example, if you beat down your opponent to when it's their turn, when it's back to your turn, and they have less than 2 cards in hand, you can strike them for the 6 damage. Or in the beginning, you can ride this first and force your opponent to lose major cards in hand that they actually need to snowball into their plays. It can go either way. Next, we play 2 copies of Happiness Gathering Dragon King. This is the way for you to flood your board so you don't waste cards in your hand. So for those who don't know, Dragon King's skill is act once per turn, turn a card face up in your G-Zone, and then reveal the top number of cards of your deck equal to the number of cards in your G-Zone plus 2. So if there's only 1, you're going to reveal 3, and so on and so forth. For every normal unit revealed, you get to call those units. For every trigger revealed, you get to activate the trigger effect, and then the trigger goes to your hand. So you may be wondering, what happens if I hit the over trigger? You only get the 100 million power, not the additional drive check effect. This is not a drive check. This is a reveal effect. So you only get the 100 million power, but your rear guards do not perform drive checks. But then you were wondering, well, if I hit the over trigger and then it's in my hand, I can't use it later. Not so much. Our next grade 4 is Lord of Guidance Wako Hihime. So Wako Hihime has the ability of Oracle. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw 1 card. Choose any card from your hand and put it on top of your deck. So that over trigger that you got off of Dragon King, you can just put it on top of your deck for Wako Hihime and have nothing but grade 3s on your board and drive check 10 times. Synergy. Our last grade 4 we're playing for obvious reasons. If you just want to end the game, your opponent can't guard, can't do nothing. We play 4 copies of Stillwater Festival Deity Ikashikima. Ikashikima has the ability act once per turn, counterblast 1, soul blast 1, turn a copy of herself face up in the G-Zone, and draw 2 cards. The reason why her first skill is because her second skill is Generation Break 3 Oracle. You must have 5 cards in your hand for Oracle effect to go off. Your opponent cannot use G-Guardians or grade 0s to guard this turn. With a double Vanguard swinging deck like this, that is very devastating to your opponent. You're getting at least 5 drive checks with a possible 5 crits. That is scary, and plus they can't guard with their most optimum guard cards. Next, we play 3 copies of our G-Guardian, Son of Eternity, Amaterasu. So Amaterasu is here to just do one thing, Soul Charge, get plus 10k power, and then look at the top card of the deck, put it top or bottom. If it's a trigger, you're going to keep it on top for a damage trigger check. That is her one and only purpose. Very strong card, very utilized in this deck. And our last G-Guardian is Dismal. For when we have our Benetite on rear guard, we want to keep her safe for our next turn. So you want to protect her as much as possible. Dismal is here to protect your grade 3 Benetite Witch Yo-Yo. Enough said. That is the entire deck in a nutshell. You could change one of these cards out to get the new Cray Elemental Harmonics Messiah, so you guys can get the new Guardian when it comes out in the History Collection. But besides that, you really don't want to change too much in this lineup, because you have utility, you're forcing cards, you're building cards without using any cards in your hand, and things of that nature. For example, if you're going up against Megan Calendar, you don't want to use Dragon King because you wouldn't be able to superior call the units You will go into Floor Witch or Shikima just to gain cards, or you might even go into Sterling Witch just to beat down. But then if you're able to Superior Call, Dragon King is your number one choice. Having over triggering hand, this just gives you different branches to spear off from your normal ride and constant plussing to the hand. This deck is a plus engine and a beat down disaster for your opponent. So I hope you guys liked what I brought. I've been testing this deck out on Discord. I do have a Discord. If you look at my old videos or this video, there will be a link in the description for my Discord. But I've been playing against a lot of people, especially a lot of Japanese players. They are very curious as to why this deck has not been topping in America. Really, there's just not a lot of people playing it. And the fact that our current meta in the States is a control meta, this deck loses to control. If you have to keep filling your board with cards in your hand, you don't have those cards to defend yourself with later. So keep that in mind. This deck does lose to control, but if you're not playing in a control meta, this deck goes boss. So guys, I hope you guys liked what you saw. Leave a comment down below, subscribe, like, and we will see you guys here next time. Look out for those videos I mentioned in the beginning of the video, and maybe a few little things coming in. History collection looks to shape up really nicely. The entire team is building different decks. You'll be seeing many fights in the near future, and we hope you guys enjoy. As always, this has been Mr. Budget. And I am saying we'll see you later.